What's up everybody? Welcome back to my channel for another figure related video. It feels weird just saying figure related video and not 1/6 figure related video because I do only usually do mainly 1/6 on this channel. But this is the new Inart 1/12 scale Morphig Batman The Dark Knight Rises figure, their very first figure in the line. So being that I own a lot of the 1/6 scale Inart stuff, I gotta take a look at the 1/12 scale version. I wanna start by saying this actually was not sent to me directly from Inart. I know Inart sent out a lot of advanced copies to some YouTubers. Some of them actually were 1/6 YouTubers. Unfortunately, I didn't make it on their list. So Inart, if you're watching this, I would love to get some advanced copies in the future. Hit me up, send me an email, message me on Instagram. I'm there. Anyways, though, I do want to give a massive shout out to the wizard himself, Jeremy Casa from Plastic Hero Collectibles. I talk about him all the time, but Jeremy is the reason for this review. He sent me this figure out for review. Don't ask me how he found it this early. I have no idea, but you guys think I'm joking when I say he could literally find anything. He can find basically anything. So shout out to Jeremy for hitting me up, ask me if I want to do a review on this guy, because he is the reason that this is in my hands right now. So thank you so much, Jeremy, guys. Link in the description to Plastic Hero Collectibles on Instagram and on the Facebook group. I highly recommend taking a look at both. But anyways, the packaging itself is actually pretty nice. This is the deluxe version. You'll see that listed on the box here in a second. They do have the number of the figure itself. I know they do different tiers for all their figures. I'm still trying to figure that whole thing out. I'm not sure if I'm a huge fan of that, but nonetheless, that's how they do things over at Inart. You can see it says Inart 1/12 there on the bottom. On the side, you do see the deluxe version branding, the Dark Knight trilogy. Love to see that because I absolutely love these films. And there is a little Inart sticker, like a tamper-proof Inart sticker, which I think is pretty cool. In the art box, you are greeted by these two plastic clamshells here. Of course, I did take the plastic off of some of the individual items, and I also took the clear clamshell tops off of them. But as you can see, there's quite a bit included in this set, quite a bit to digest. And of course, because I'm a little rat, I left the plastic on the head sculpt. So you're gonna have to wait and see that, because that's like the big reveal, right? Everybody wants to see that head sculpt. But without further ado though, let's take the figure and all the accessories out of these clamshells and let's take a closer look at all the details. I gotta be honest with you, after peering in that box, I could not contain my excitement to look at this figure. So I just said, let's go for it. Let's start with the figure right off the bat. But as you can see, the proportions look absolutely phenomenal. The sculpting of the different armor plating and especially the cowl look great. This is one of the best Dark Knight cowls in any scale that I've seen. Notoriously in the past, if you guys are familiar with Hot Toys figures, Hot Toys has messed up on that cowl in many, many iterations. So to see it done so well in a smaller scale is very, very impressive. I want to get closer up though on the details on the body here because they are also very, very impressive. I really love the texture here on the breastplate. As you can see, it looks really nice. It looks like actual like woven Kevlar on the abdominal plates as well. Everything looks really nice. Something that's very clever that Inart did, as you can see, as you twist that torso, the abdominal plates kind of hide that seam there in the middle pretty well. Even from the side, you can see it's pretty well hidden. This is a very cleverly designed figure. The bicep armor looks great. Something that was an issue with a lot of the larger scale figures like the Hot Toys 1/6 scale and 1/4 scale is you would see this kind of elbow piece pop out just based on the design and how they had to deal with all the fabric elements and everything. You don't see that here with the 1/12 scale version, which is great to see. I really do hope that that translates over to the 1/6 scale version that Inart has planned. The cowl, again, just looks awesome. I really love how that cowl looks. You get that signature Bale side angle too as you look at it. Kind of have to like tip that head forward too a little bit. That just adds to it. But what a great looking cowl. I love the eyes as well. Of course, you do have glossing on those eyes. I will kind of adjust the lighting a little bit later to get a better look at the mouth plate and how the paint looks and everything, because the paint apps are very, very impressive for such a small scale. I have to stress that because they look fantastic in person. Trust me, it looks great. But another thing that really jumped out at me, this is a really nice soft goods cape. I think the material feels awesome. I like the way it hangs. You guys know I'm a big fan of drape capes. If you watch the channel, I've mentioned that many times. I think it hangs really nicely and just looks great on the figure. So in this scale, one of the better soft goods capes I've seen. It looks fantastic. Again, just the details on the armor, the utility belt looks fantastic. No sloppy paintwork or anything. You have some weathering here and there. It just looks really nice, guys, and I cannot wait to take a look at the articulation as well. Moving back down to that lower half though, you could see some really nice sculpted in like woven fabric style details, really nicely sculpted in there. The boots look fantastic for sculpted plastic. It looks like real mimicked leather. That's awesome. Another thing I want to point out, similar to the elbows, the way that these are engineered, they look fantastic. No visible seams or anything. The way it's kind of tucked under that thigh piece is very clever, so really love to see that. Of course, you do have a split cut boot with a rocker ball joint in there, and I imagine this is going to pose very well as we get to that segment. We'll take a look at that. You do have tread on the bottom of the feet as well, which is really cool to see. So some really cool engineering in this figure. I know a lot of you are probably curious, how do you remove the cape? I believe this breastplate here actually just pops off, so give me 1 second, we'll do that. So yes, you just kind of get your fingernail under there and you pull it off. As you can see, I think one of my magnets came unglued. You could see on the underside here. That's okay, that's not a huge deal to me. It happens with a lot of figures. Sometimes there's not enough glue. I'll just put a little glue back in there and glue it back on. But yes, once you actually remove that breastplate, you can see those little clips, they kind of slot in there. And that is a really good solution in my opinion. Very easy to do. And now you have a capeless figure. And now that we have our cape removed, you could see we just pop the chest plate back in, and now you could see what he looks like without the cape on it. And this is another detail that a lot of companies have got wrong, is this whole back section, especially these two little humps. Kind of the size and shape of those has been wrong on many different iterations of this particular suit. But I think it looks pretty dang good on the Inart 1/12 scale figure here. Love the ribbing detail on the back as well. Again, very cleverly hidden in the joint there. I love how they did that. It makes it look as seamless as they possibly can make it. I think this looks fantastic. Just an overall really awesome looking figure. Before we go through articulation and stuff, I do want to show you some of the accessories that come with this figure, especially those swap out mouth plates. So give me 1 second and we'll take a look at those. To swap those mouth plates, you just pull the neck and head combination off that neck peg, and then you could access the actual mouthpiece on the inside. As you can see, just like a lot of the 1/6 scale stuff, it's just a little plunger that goes in the hole. And just a little tip, it may help you. I'm a big fan of toothpicks on these figures because it tends to be easier on them and not damage things. Just take that toothpick and poke it in the hole there, and then the mouth plate drops out. I want to note it was actually very easy to put this head sculpt and the cape back on the figure. A very easy experience in my opinion. Here's that first swap out mouth plate. It has more of a neutral expression, as you can see on the mouth. I think it looks pretty good. And here's our second swap out mouth plate. I really like this one. I feel like I like this one as much as the pre-installed one. I think it looks really good. Again, the cowl looks awesome. For 1/12 scale, I'm very impressed, and the mouth plates really look awesome with this figure. In terms of guns, gadgets, and accessories, you get the EMP launcher here. As you can see, a common accessory included with this particular suit. I think it looks pretty good. Not a lot of weathering or anything. You do see some here towards the back, but I would like to see a little bit more, but it's sculpted really well. And of course, another essential accessory for this particular suit is the sticky bomb gun. Unlike some other figures that included this, it doesn't collapse and fold up. Honestly, that might be a good thing though. It's kind of a pain in the butt, and also I don't think that many people are honestly going to display it that way, so I'm perfectly fine with it being fixed. As you can see, you have a little like translucent red window there simulating that light. I think it looks pretty awesome. As tiny as this little grapple gun is, you can see it's painted really nice, no sloppiness to the paint. Sometimes you see that with these smaller scale figures, and I'm not seeing that here with the Inart figure so far, so really impressed by that for sure. These are so small, they're kind of hard to show on camera, but as you can see, you do get 4 batarangs, 2 of them being the smaller ones. They look pretty good. They're going to be easy to lose, so make sure you keep track of them. This set does include 8 additional hands, and there are 2 pre-installed on the figure, making 10 total, which is a fantastic variety in my opinion. And as we get closer up on them, you can see the sculpted in details in such a small scale are very, very impressive. And I want to show you really quickly how easy these pop on the figure, because I was also very happy with that. Something I didn't mention earlier, pre-installed on the figure are 2 closed fists. Taking them off is very simple. You just kind of pull, exposing that peg there. And I'll do this on camera just to show you how easy it is. I always love the rocking motion there. It goes right on, and they do tuck under the gauntlets, which is very important because Hot Toys especially messed that up for many years. I think that looks fantastic, and again, very simple. I actually really love the included display base. Sometimes simpler is better, and for a figure that you're gonna pose the crap out of, I love a nice flat plane with an all black look. I think that looks really good. Also, that elegant looking metal nameplate that says The Dark Knight Rises, very nice looking. I'm sorry it's so shiny on camera. Of course, you do have this dynamic waist grabber here. It feels pretty sturdy. Sometimes these are kind of crap, but I feel like this has just the right amount of tension. Of course, in practice, it might be different, but I think it feels pretty nice. I'm not too turned off by it. Another thing I really like on the underside of this base, you have all of the information about the figure. For all of us that open our figures, which should be most people collecting this, I would imagine, I love that you have all the information about the figure on the bottom. I think that's really cool, and it just adds a nice little touch, and it's great that it's not on top of the base because that would look a bit tacky. So definitely a pretty nice display base. And of course, I saved the best for last. We have our Bruce Wayne Christian Bale portrait here, and I gotta be honest with you, I am very, very impressed. Honestly, I don't think I'm crazy in saying this. I think this is one of the best Bruce Wayne portraits I've seen, period, in any scale. I think this looks fantastic. And if anything, as a big 1/6 scale collector, I'm now beyond excited to see what Inart comes up with for their 1/6 scale version. As we get closer up, you could see the likeness is absolutely fantastic, and I'm still just mind blown that this is 1/12 scale work here. The head sculpt is fantastic. The hair is really nicely sculpted. I mean, top tier work on the sculpting of the hair. The paint apps are very impressive and kind of hard to capture on camera. In person, you'll be able to see how much depth there is to the paint work. There's blushing, there's 5 o'clock shadow painted in. You can kind of see it here on camera. It looks excellent. Those eyes have some gloss on them, some redness under the eyes. It just looks fantastic through and through. I'm very, very impressed. Another thing I want to mention, yet again, very easy to peg onto the body. It moves just like the regular cowl does. It looks really, really nice, guys. I cannot stress this enough. This is a fantastic head sculpt. I'm very, very pleased with it. So you guys who are getting this figure, if this is how you want to run yours, I think you're going to be beyond overjoyed. You could see it looks amazing. I mean, in 1/12 scale, no less. I think this is really unbeatable. Such a great start to the line from Inart. Another thing, obviously, this is a 1/12 scale figure, so what do we like to do with 1/12 scale? You like to pose the crap out of it. So how well can it pose? I'm happy to say the articulation is pretty dang fantastic on this figure. The head fully swivels left and right. Very little limitation there. Of course, forward, you can get it a decent amount. Maybe I would have liked a little bit more for that cowled sculpt, but that's okay. Going backwards, you can have him looking up in the sky, which is another really popular pose for Batman. Definitely plenty of articulation there. Something I really love design-wise for this is when you go for that shoulder raise there, you can get a full 90 and then some, as you could see, because of that clever little track in there that shifts the shoulder plate as you move it. And you can see every single time it moves on its own, which I love. Very easy to press back down too. I think that's a great design choice. The arm can do a full rotation, no limitations whatsoever. Sorry, the cape got in the way a little bit. In terms of that elbow bend, a really nice double jointed elbow there. As you can see, I love that design, as I mentioned earlier, with how that tucks up into the arm. I think it looks very nice, very natural. You do have swivel at the bicep as well, as you could see. Very, very posable there. Also, I didn't mention this earlier, but you can fully rotate the hands. No issues, no restrictions whatsoever. I did also briefly touch on this earlier, but I love the way they kind of hid those abdominal panels in the joints. I think that's very clever and does a great job at hiding most of those lines there. You do have some nice ab crunch as well. Obviously, really as much as you can get out of this suit due to the design itself. I don't think that's any limitation on Inart's end. It's just how the suit is designed. The belt actually can be shifted a little bit in posing. And obviously that would be most important when you're lifting the legs up, which again, plenty of articulation. You can get them as far as you would want them. I mean, you could have them full sitting, which obviously mostly comes into play if you have a 1/12 scale vehicle to put him in. I think he's going to fit in there just fine as long as there's enough room inside that vehicle. That is fantastic in my opinion. Another feature I really like as well, you do have thigh swivel, and I got to be honest with you, this is extremely smooth. Like there's no limitation whatsoever. I really like that. Again, that abdominal twist paired with that is going to be really nice for posing. You can also slightly move the forearms. I don't think there's going to be too too many applications for that, but that's nice as well. Moving down, of course, the knees are double jointed. You can almost touch his butt with his ankle, which is incredible. Really could not ask for more there. Another thing I'm curious about are the ankles. Forward, backward, very easy. Side to side swivel is a bit limited, but that's again due to the design of the boot, not Inart's fault. Just a really nice body on this figure, beautifully designed in my opinion. I'm very, very impressed. And for those who are curious, we have the most recent Armory 1/6 scale Batman on the left and the Inart 1/12 scale on the right. And I think these could live in beautiful harmony on your display, kind of being pals. The mini Batman learning from the big Batman, I don't know. But just wanted to show you guys that for fun because I think it's a pretty cool comparison. But anyways, enough goofing about. I wish this did come with an empty cowl to kind of have him holding the cowl when he has the unmasked portrait on. I think that would be pretty cool. Not a huge complaint, but just a thought. Of course, you could remove this mouth plate, but you still have those eyes in there, so it's just a bit weird. But either way, I think you could make it work. Let me throw this guy in a couple poses though, and we'll close out this video and I'll share my final thoughts on the very first 1/12 scale figure from Inart. So here I've got him in the obligatory like brawling pose, and I gotta be honest with you, the swivel on those thighs being so smooth, it's very easy to fine tune and adjust the joints to make him stay very stable. I think he looks awesome. Again, that cowl is fantastic, and it's just crazy to me that this is a 1/12 scale figure because it looks so realistic. Very, very impressed as I'm posing this figure up. And this being the Dark Knight, I didn't want to shine too much light on him, but as you can see in lower light, he really shines and looks absolutely menacing and fantastic. And this is kind of going along with what I mentioned earlier about it including an empty cowl. That would have been really cool. As you can see, you can kind of pose around it, and you could adjust your open hands here more to kind of hold the cowl a little bit better. But you could see kind of the emotion that this conveys, having him like looking down on the cowl, contemplating his place in Gotham City. And you could see, yet again, a closer up shot of that head sculpt in this softer lighting. It just looks absolutely fantastic. I stick by it. I think this is one of the best Christian Bale likenesses I've seen, especially in 1/12 scale, but in any scale, really. I think this is a fantastic head sculpt. So this last pose here is just kind of a proof of concept, showing off that awesome poseability. He's kind of in a low crouch action pose, looking like a ninja with the batarang ready to throw it. Really nice poseability, like I mentioned many times throughout this video. I think he looks great. I think he poses awesome. And you could really see how dynamic you could really get this figure to look. But yeah, that's going to wrap up this video. Sorry in advance to all the 1/12 scale guys if I didn't do this figure the proper justice, because I've never reviewed a 1/12 scale figure before, but I think I did a pretty decent job showing it up because I'm not new to reviews whatsoever. And again, I think this figure is awesome. It certainly is going to open a lot of people's eyes to the 1/12 scale world. This is a very special release in my opinion. I think this does go live on the 28th for pre-orders of this month. Definitely hit up Jeremy Casa from Plastic Hero Collectibles for all of your 1/12 scale, 1/6 scale statue needs. You name it, he usually can get it. So definitely follow that link in the description. Also, let me know what you think of this figure in the comments down below. Is it a hit like a lot of people are saying, including myself? I think it is. Anyways, thanks for watching the video. Take care. See ya.